What's up, you beautiful collectors? It's the one and only Optibotimus coming at you with another video review. And on today's episode, finally, we're going to be taking a look at the new Transformers masterpiece, MP-11ND of the Destron new Jetron Warrior, otherwise known as Dirge. We've gotten Starscream, Skywarp, Thundercracker, Ramjet, and Thrust, and now, finally, we can complete the Seekers by adding Dirge to our collection. For the package, you got that very standard masterpiece box, fairly large here, with images of him in his robot as well as his jet mode. You got the little kind of award thing that TakaraTomy got here for the long life design. That's basically what that is, I guess. On the side here, you got that really nice foil text with Transformers Masterpiece. Same thing on the opposite side. Bottom here has a whole bunch of stuff that I didn't bother to translate. It's basically warnings and things of that nature. And then on the top of the box, upside down, we have an image of Dirge in his robot mode. Then when you come to the back of the package, you got a whole bunch of different product shots, as well as an actual size of them here in robot mode, and some stuff up here that, utilizing my little iPhone app, it basically talks about the world's most famous robot brand, the Transformers, which was born in the mid-80s and mainly loved by children. But as time has gone by, that it wasn't only just children that loved it, and it spread to a wide range of teenagers from the very beginning of the series, and obviously grew to what it is today. And that in addition to the different transformations and gimmicks that the Transformer toys had, it was a lot of the different individual profiles that really did grab the hearts of many fans. Such is the case here with Dirge. Being part of the Seeker group of Decepticons, it goes on to say that he appeared later in the series, having escaped a space prison, that emits waves of ultrasonic energy from his jet engines, which has the power to destroy surrounding buildings, and really does instill fear in everyone around him, including the Decepticons. This product here features a lot of those design elements that gave him a very unique toy as well as cartoon look. And while very similar to a lot of the other Seekers, it has obviously been remolded with a lot of different detailed improvements, including very unique to Dirge, obviously the redesigned wings. A lot of the other elements are the same, such as different jet machine parts, and they really did the best that they could to make it look realistic. So that's basically what that goes into talking about. Obviously, you have an image here of his robot mode. You got images of his actual sonic cannons, how they can be displayed on his arm like this, or you can have the more kind of classic null ray look, and then it can also be stored on the back of him. Showcases his very unique new head shape as well as the new face. He does still have the little booby missiles. Goes on to show his very cool looking jet mode and the unique feature of him having little tiny wings here in the front. Also shows that he does come with the holographic pilot, that the cockpit does open up, and then you get the other accessory kind of list down here in the bottom. But for the packaging on this guy, I know that was a lot, but that is about it. So without further ado, let's get him out here and see how cool he actually is. Alright, so here we have Dirge opened up out of its packaging and obviously in his jet mode. And I really do like this guy. I mean, there has been a lot of conversation about how this is really kind of old-fashioned, utilizing the MP-11 mold, but I really do think it works. I think it's a nice homage to the original G1 toys, how all the cone heads were just basically remolds. Well, not even remolds, just figures with new parts, that kind of attached and stuff. So I mean, I dig that. I think that's a nice throwback. And I think that they did a really good job of kind of updating that base body to give us the cone heads. As you can see, he's got his very cool, very large back wings here. You got the smaller little tiny ones up front. You got that cool color where he's got the blue and then the gray and then obviously this yellowish brown. Very reminiscent of his G1 self. Some nice gunmetal gray here for the little thrusters. You got the very cool Decepticon logos on 3 parts here. He does have some nice silver paint around the actual cockpit. And again, for the gimmicks and such, you can open it. You got a little cockpit on the inside. And then you get a little clear guy. I kind of like this one a little bit more, to be honest. Some of the other ones had like tints to it, like yellow and gray and stuff. I just kind of like the straight up clear. I mean, he go poof, gone, but I mean, that's kind of neat. So I do appreciate that. I'll probably lose it on my background at some point in time, but some nice detail on the inside of the cockpit. He does have the opening little radar dish sort of thing. You can swivel it out. You got that nice silver kind of bit there in the inside. You can put that right back. You can come around here to the back section, and this does lift up, revealing his single bit of die cast, the little piston right there. You got the little sliding mechanism right there for his air brake. You can put that back down. You can come around here to the back. These can actually lift up. And now these are going to become his feet, but in his jet mode, they're described as being his, thruster engine. So you do have those for his accessories. He does have his landing gear that's molded into the knees, much like the other cone heads. You can put those away just like so, and I love the accuracy of his knee bits right there. All the cone heads have that, and I think they did a great job of remolding that in addition to the wings. You can see his very large, they basically refer to him as like sonic cannons of sorts, and I guess, I don't know, I mean the actual null rays fitter on there. I love the way that they designed that. Very creative, and then you can take these off, and I'll show how to do that here in a bit. You can attach them to his back. Of course, you got the little Decepticon logos on the underside of his wings, good molded detail on the bottom sections as well. All in all, I mean, it is a really solid looking jet. I still actually really do enjoy this mold. Quality control issues aside, I think that it's nicely engineered. Now, for some comparisons, you can only really do it best by showing off the other Seekers. Here he is next to Ramjet. Obviously, I don't have Ramjet's little guns anymore. I put those away, and this guy did have some of those quality control bits. So putting him there, and then, of course, bringing in probably my favorite of the cone heads. Here we have Thrust. Again, real cool design. All of them have the base bodies, which are identical. There's no way that I'm going to be able to show all three of these at the same time. Maybe if I take this landing gear and tuck that down, it'll kind of sit up. Nah, there's no real way I'm going to be able to show this pretty decent. Well, kind of. If I roll it all the way back here, you can kind of see what's going on. But great look for all of these guys here. Let me just, I'm going to detach my camera and come up here and just go like that. Yeah, I'll just go like that and take you guys on a ride. I mean, real gorgeous. I absolutely love the looks of them. I mean, they're unique. That's one aspect that I've always loved about the cone heads. You know, where Starscream, Skywarp, Thundercracker, all of them basically were the exact same except different colors. These guys at least had some different character to them with the different looks. And I really dig that. I mean, they were never very big favorites of mine in terms of characters. The original guys always were my favorite, so bringing in one of the originals, obviously, here we have them next to MP-11 Starscream. And again, you can see such dramatic differences in terms of the look. The base body, yeah, very much the same, but as I said, I think that's a nice throwback to the way that the original G1 toys were. For me, it just really does work when recreating the masterpiece. Now, I was going to go ahead and skip the transformation because it's mostly the same, but, for old time's sake, I think I'll do it. So come around here to the bottom, detach these, swivel these out to the side, and you can actually take these, and they just clip around, or will slide around the actual null rays. They're a little bit tricky, but just pull it out just like that, and then go ahead and push together. You got little holes that you tab everything into, and you line it up. And there you have his little extra cannons, and I'll show you where you can put those. So you do have the null rays that just fit on there. I love how they actually did that. Come around here to the back section. You're going to detach these from the sides. Kind of just pull that apart just like that. It does actually kind of tab down, but it's pretty easy to slide that out. You can then pull these legs, split these apart, pull those down, do that on this side. Pull that down, make sure you have that fully extended. Wow, that was really stiff. Okay, so make sure you extend that all the way down. You can then bend these, kind of just fold these down, just get that kind of out of the way. Come around near the back section, fold these out, rotate these pieces around, creating his heel. Do that on this side as well. Come around here, rotate these around like that. These little pieces here, you're going to want to kind of push down to get the little front section to come up. Get this. Let's see. Kind of hit the
get this detached here. So, well, or just pull the whole thing apart just like that. Kind of rotate this up. So again, kind of pull this up and rotate this around. Now you got these little pieces. This is all very, very similar to what we've seen 1,000 times. So you just fold this out, and all that's really stiff on that. So let me wedge that out there with something. There we go. Pull that little tab section out on both sides. That will come in very handy. There you go. That one came out a lot easier. And just rotate that up, and it'll probably get knocked out, but you're going to want to tab it into the actual back section here. But like I said, it'll more than likely get knocked out, and you can rotate these around if you want to. You don't have to. In fact, in putting his little guns on the back, that's what you're going to plug it into. So I just kind of leave it right there for right now. Come around here to these arms. Again, kind of get these lifted up out of the way. Swivel these out. And then you can just hinge them out like that, and then rotate them around. Fold the little fists out on that side. Do that on that side. Rotate this around. From here you can then rotate his null rays around. Very tight. These are extremely tight. The little ball joints are very stiff. So rotate that. Rotate that around like so. Take these little pieces. Separate them right down the middle if you can. There we go. And swivel these out. God, everything is really stiff on this one. That's definitely a good thing. Rotate these out. Come on. There we go. Rotate that out and around. Out and around. Kind of keep it on the outside like that. Come around to the back. Push from the back here to loosen this back section up like so. Bring this down, detach this, and then you can just tuck this down and around. When you have it like that, you can rotate this whole section around like so. Come up a little bit here, and then bring this all the way around. Bring this up. Again, you don't tab this into anything. That's definitely an unfortunate missed opportunity, I feel, by Takara here. You take this whole section, rotate the little chest piece down. That's stiff again. So fight with this a little bit. Yeah, a lot of the stiffness really does make him a little bit more problematic to transform. So rotate that down. Rotate that down, get that arm out of the way, and then you collapse this whole section down along this little sliding joint. But yeah, it's a little bit stiff right there. So, well, let's pull this piece out. There, get that out. Slide that, there we go. Then bring this down, push that in there. Make sure you collapse that all the way down. There we go. You can rotate his head around like so. Kind of hinge that back like that. And then you just kind of straighten things out. Fold these little pieces forward. You can then take these wings here on the legs, kind of flare these out. Again, you got these little pieces that have all these different hinges, but basically you kind of want to leave it like that. And that clips into place right there. So keep it like that. Hinge these little wings around. Make sure that those are all the way down like that. Spread his legs. Position that. Make sure that the little chest thing is positioned properly. And again, like I said, you're just kind of cleaning him up right now. Keep that pegged up and in there. And when you're done, after you're fiddling with him, there you have Dirge in his robot mode. And again, this guy's just absolutely terrific looking. He does have that same kind of look that, you know, we're kind of used to with a lot of the Seekers right now. But for what it is, I think it works beautifully. The colors you can see really do come through. He gets a lot more kind of gray in his robot mode. But now I was talking about his different accessories. You can take these and obviously you can leave them attached to the null ray cannon and you can leave that on there. I don't particularly like that because in terms of the animation, he had these types of guns there. So what you can do with these is either way, you can, you know, put them up like this or put them down like this. I'm going to put them down like that. You can peg them on here to the back, which stores them really nicely and kind of gives them a little bit different of a look. It's not too bad, but at least he's got a place to kind of store those like the other ones, which I do appreciate. I mean, that's really, I mean, about it. I mean, basically you just have Dirge, and it's many times where you've gone over these figures and not really much changes. There are some tightness issues with them. You can see that the shoulders do work pretty decently in terms of not making this completely come up. I'm still, I mean, I've never been overly thrilled with how they do this whole area. I feel like it should sit down much lower in terms of like keeping this bit flush with these little outer sections. But I mean, it's Dirge. I mean, we're done. I mean, we have all the Seekers, or all the Coneheads now too. So obviously, let's do some comparisons. Here he is, and here you have him next to Thrust and Ramjet. And again, absolutely terrific looking figures. One thing that really does kind of, well, I don't want to say ruin the display, but make it difficult to display these guys is just how big these wings are. Obviously, all the Seekers kind of have that, but you can see it takes up a considerable amount of space when you want to display all these guys. I do like the fact that they gave him, I'm trying to look here, he's got a slightly different face, I think. Yeah, whereas like Ramjet's fairly neutral, and you got that really nice gunmetal sort of gray with the red eyes. Thrust here has a kind of a little smirk where one side of his lip is going up a little bit more, and then he's got the really nice gold eyes. Dirge here is basically just a full-on sort of an angry look with some really nice dark paint here that really nicely matches the rest of the gray, and then you got really solid red eyes there. So I like the fact that each one of them has a different sculpted face. Again, adding to the uniqueness of the different characters. I still think that of the three, Thrust is probably my favorite looking. And then obviously here he is next to the Air Commander himself, Starscream. And again, big difference with him. The unique look of the Coneheads really does shine here. Now for his articulation, one thing that's also nice is you can lift this up and that doesn't slide, which is a marked improvement on this mold. I mean, it shifted up a little bit, but it's not bad. But for the articulation, you can see that you get a little bit of tilt here in the head and moves up and down a little. It can rotate fairly decently. The back does get a little bit blocked by these giant sections right here. You can't do a full 360. Well, you can't. Well, no, you really can't without forcing things. The shoulders here do rotate very nicely. You can see that again, that kind of lock is a lot better than what we had here with previous areas. I think they kind of fixed it. I'm trying to remember if they fixed it with Thundercracker or Skywarp. I don't remember, but that's been something that they've kind of fixed. So you do have that nice ratchet joint. You have the little hinge outward. You can rotate them at the upper part of the bicep. You got two joints here at the elbow. The null rays are on ball joints down here, so you can kind of pivot these and position these however you want. The wrists do rotate. You got a thumb that articulates at the base knuckle. You have the index finger with a base knuckle and secondary knuckle. You can bend that, and then the three bottom fingers are all individual. Well, they're not individually articulated; they're fused together. But you have them on a main hinge and then a secondary one. So it's like you have this, and then they bend like that, which is weird. Nothing really at the waist. He kind of actually does, but you're not going to get a lot because the way that the waist locks in here. There is actually like a swivel right there, but you can't really use it very well. Down here though, there is a lot of junk, so you do have to kind of be careful. You got these little pieces that move out so you can kind of move his legs out, but again, these pieces here really do bump up here and kind of limit some of the articulation. He does have, and again, it's hard to articulate him, but you do have a ratchet joint there, so you can move it forward and back. He does rotate at the upper part of the thigh, bends here at the knee. You come down here, and again, yeah, all this stuff really does kind of just bump into different places. He's definitely a figure, well, all the cone heads are, where you have to be very careful with things. And then I guess, you know, you could rotate the little ankles and it moves forward and back. So decent articulation. There is a lot of clearance issues, and stuff's just falling off. I'm just going to take those off because I'm going to put those in storage anyhow. So just get that off to the side. I do still wish that you actually could, well, I don't even know how you really could do it. I mean, you can't really lock that in. I mean, you can kind of just leave it like that or down like so. So, unfortunately, that is something that changed when they went to the cone head design. They got rid of the little peg hole here in the back that you could peg that into to kind of lock everything a little bit better. But that went away, so that's kind of unfortunate. But all in all, I mean, if you've invested yourself in all of these other Seekers and other cone heads, this is definitely one that you're going to want to add to your collection just to kind of complete it. The cone heads, though, I do think are, like I said, because they didn't get a ton of screen time, I think they're a little bit underappreciated. I think they're still very cool looking, and obviously they're more Decepticons, which everybody constantly says, we need more Decepticon Masterpiece figures. Well, there wasn't a lot of Decepticons. You know, in the first couple seasons, this is basically it. We've pretty much gotten them all. I mean, outside of like combiners and things like that, I mean, who else is there really? I mean, Insecticons we could definitely get. That Reflector is a character that we could get as well, but I mean, for the most part, we've gotten everything else. I keep looking at this to see if that's not collapsed all the way down. So it's cool to get another one. It completes the line, I guess. I know Hasbro has done some of the Rainmakers and such. I've never really cared too much about those. They're just not of interest to me. But these guys definitely were. They were a lot more prominent in the series. Not as much as the original Seekers, but still really fun to round out your collection. So all that being said, if Dirge here is a figure that you'd like to add to your collection, he is available right now at Big Bad Toy Store. So all you have to do for that is click on the link down in the video description. You'll go to BBTS where you can check out availability on this guy, as well as the rest of the wide range of Transformers Masterpiece figures. But beyond that, guys, that's about it. So once again, I want to thank you for tuning in. This has been Optibotimus. Don't forget that if you like this video, to please show me by hitting that thumbs up button. It goes a long way towards helping me out, and I'd really appreciate it. Also, if you're new here, be sure to subscribe in case you haven't already subscribed. It's free, and you'll get instant email notifications whenever I upload a new video, and you'll never miss out on a future review of mine. Or hey, if y'all already subscribed, do me a real quick favor and click on that little bell right below this video, and double check your settings to make sure that they're set so that you get those email notifications. And as always, until next time, till all are one.